All right. Well, welcome everybody. Hey, we're so thankful that you're joining us here for this continuation of the Marketing and Lead Generation Workshop series. Today, we're going to be focusing on how to simplify, streamline, automate, and delegate your marketing. And super excited to have special guest with us, Jody Anderson, and we'll get to introducing her in just a moment. But if you're new to what it is that we do at Grow My Profit, my brother Jeff and I have been consulting business owners and sharing some of the expertise that we've built up over the last 3 decades to help other business owners to scale their revenue, scale sales, grow their opportunities, and grow their profit. And Jeff, welcome to the presentation today.
Thanks, Dave. Excited to share some ideas.
Yeah, super excited to get your insights on this as well, on this important topic, and such an important strategy now for business owners that are maybe struggling with scaling their business and really trying to grow it. And, Jeff and I, we've been entrepreneurs from a very young age. We grew up in an entrepreneurial family, and it's just really fun to be able to partner up as brothers, midlife. Both of us turned 50 a couple years ago for Jeff, just last year for me. And we just love sharing some of the experiences, the real life in the trenches type of experience. And today we have an expert that has been a friend of ours for almost 40 years now. It seems like we've been connected from a very young age. Our parents were friends, and so we're excited to be able to share Jody's experience. She's been on her own entrepreneurial journey and helping lots of business owners to scale.
I
And
want Jody's baby photo up there. Wait a second. I got a big smile at her when she saw that picture of us as little kids. Don't we look like 70s kids, the goofy striped shirts? Every time I see that picture, I want to laugh. And I saw Jody laugh. I'm like, I want Jody's baby picture up there. I'm just kidding.
I was right there with you. I just turned 50. I'm in the 50 club. We were all wearing the striped shirts.
Oh my God. Okay, so we're all 70s children. Our parents were
Yes.
sick, huh?
well, I was looking for the picture that of you taking Jody to whatever the homecoming dance or
Oh
whatever
my
that
gosh.
was.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. That's right. How funny. That would be a great picture to share. Okay.
Many
We'll
more,
have to
many.
dig that one up from the yearbook.
Yes, absolutely. So just to give you a quick overview with what we do in helping businesses, because this gives context to the topic of marketing today, we focus in on helping business owners to focus on taking the specific steps to scale their business and grow their profit. Jeff recently had an 8-figure exit selling his marketing agency 3 years ago and had other very successful businesses. And we'd love to share these steps as a kind of a progression, but not necessarily any chronological order. But we do feel like that everyone builds off of the other. And if you want more information on this, you can take a look at growmyprofit.com. We also have an online learning platform called Scale University, where you can get access to courses and interviews with other extraordinary entrepreneurs. Jeff and I have tried to kind of leave the breadcrumbs and kind of give a trail behind us as to what we've experienced, and just sharing that in a very user-friendly environment where you can go in there, watch videos and read content, download swipe files to help you to utilize some of the strategies and techniques that we have generated and found success with. And over the last 5 weeks, we've been going through marketing as the third step in our process and sharing specific information, tactics, tools, and ideas to help you to improve your marketing strategies. And Jeff has this quote that marketing just makes sales easier. And Jeff, I don't know if you want to kind of just expand on that for the people that are watching this live or watching a recording, just to give context to the role that marketing plays in the big picture.
Yeah, I'll tell you that I was a VP of sales and marketing. That was my first real job where I made a 6-figure income. I had 40 salespeople, 4 managers, and the marketing department reporting to me. So I'm doing sales and marketing. And what I learned was sales is most important, way more important than marketing. But marketing makes it easier to sell. So it's definitely a close second. It's a slave. So if I have good marketing and I generate leads and make it easy to sell, my revenue can skyrocket, right? So you kind of have to figure out both. I mean, you could have really good marketing, have a horrible sales team, and not close any leads, and you have no revenue. Now you're worse off. I spent the money. We got all these leads. I didn't sell anything. That's horrible. So marketing, conversion, sales, it's all so tied together. I read a story recently about, Elon Musk and Tesla. Do you know what his marketing budget is for Tesla? It is zero, zero. Ford Motor Company spends $700 per car sold on marketing. So imagine Tesla's saving $700 a car. How do you get away with that? The product is so phenomenal. I'm not a big Tesla fan, but I mean, I love the car. I love Elon. I'm not a big electric car guy. I still like motors and turbos, but the car is so amazing that it's sold without any marketing budget. So I guess you could spend hundreds of millions on engineering, make the product so good that you don't need any marketing to sell it. That is fascinating to me. Ford spending $700 a car, BMW spending $900 a car, TV, radio, newsprint. You never see any marketing from Tesla. And I know because I tried to call them and sell them marketing. They go, we have zero budget. I'm like, what are you talking about? You're a car company. So technology, I guess, could be built well enough, engineering the product where you don't need any marketing. But I don't know too many other companies that can't do marketing or need marketing to do lead gen, to make sales, because we're trying to grow our companies, bigger revenue. That's what it's about. So marketing is, a slave to sales, but a very important one. So once you figure it out, you can just turn it up and watch revenue go from 1 million to 2 to 5 to 10 to 20. That's what I did at my ad agency. That's what I'm doing right now at my little wedding venue, getting leads to go up, making sure I have the right sales team to close them, and revenue's going up. It's not really that difficult, I mean, it takes some work and moving forward, but failing forward, but it works. You just got to get moving.
Yeah, and we've talked about that these last few weeks about, identifying your ideal client profile and your target audience, creating an irresistible offer using the Cursors acronym just to help you to walk through to make sure that you have a good quality, comprehensive offer that's irresistible. And then we talked about different strategies for lead generation, client retention, referral generation. And then last week we talked about strategic partnerships and how to create those profitable strategic partnerships that create like an annuity stream of new incoming referral opportunities and an annuity stream of income that doesn't require having to spend a lot of money to generate those leads. And today we're going to be focusing on that whole concept about simplifying, streamlining, automating, and delegating. And we're excited to get a chance to kind of walk through that and share with you strategies that you can utilize for the core 4 different areas that we've been talking about for marketing, because this topic that we're going to talk about today could be leveraged in every single one of these particular quadrants. And we'll share a little bit more about how that comes together. And when we were prepping for this call, the three of us said, what are the major growth challenges? And we think that they are scalability. Businesses that want to grow have certain glass ceilings in regards to their own concepts, their own challenges with finances. They've got return on investment that they've struggled with marketing. They've got time management barriers. They've got market changes, technology changes. And so we're going to try to address some of these. And to address them at a very deep level, we've brought in a growth marketing strategist, our friend Jody Anderson from Badass Marketing Moms. She has built an extraordinary company to really help business owners to overcome those challenges. So Jody, welcome to today's presentation, and super excited to give the audience a little background on what your experience has been over these last couple of decades. You've already declared your age, so I'm not going to go into too much detail on that, but you've spent the last 3 decades developing experience and expertise in marketing and generating leads and that kind of thing. So give the group a little background and then let's jump into it.
Yeah, absolutely. I fell in love with marketing probably about the time we all started hanging out in high school, promoting youth group events and things. And it just led in through my college career and then my corporate career all the way through. So I've always had a love and a passion for creating experiences for people, which is how I view marketing. And then in doing so, the companies that I worked for, I was really lucky to fall into this specific niche, which helped to automate and scale marketing as digital marketing grew in the marketplace. And that this is, where we date ourselves, right? It was, 25 years ago, putting together the first email campaigns, using a marketing automation platform to create sequences or webinars and follow-ups and all, importing lead lists to sales teams from trade shows, but then all of a sudden you have these virtual events with lead lists coming through. So that was kind of the origin of where I started with marketing, always in the scope of creating leads for sales teams. So if I wasn't doing my job, I wouldn't have one. And that was always to support sales for the business, because marketing should not be a expense to the business. It should be a revenue generating center for your business. And so fortunately, that's how I was raised in the industry. And where I feel where my background just has become more and more fun as digital marketing has grown and the tactics and strategies that we have to use continue to change. I've never been bored in 30 years of working in marketing. It's always something new. It's always something different. So I've worked in the hospitality and tourism industry. I've worked in tech, software, and hardware for probably 15 years of that time, for Dell, IBM, for smaller startups, for training companies. And then I've spent the last 7 years working specifically with the coaching space and the online business space and entrepreneurial space with businesses that, from a top line revenue perspective, may be smaller, but the challenges are still the same. Because at the end of the day, as Jeff said, like, you can have the best marketing in the world, but if you don't have sales, a sales team that can close, or if you have a bad offer, marketing only amplifies what's wrong with your business. So, working with whether you're a startup or an established business, they all have that same problem of, you've got to have those core three working together. Proving that minimum viable product, having a sales team that can sell it, and then marketing can make it scale with you. But you have to bridge that gap between sales and marketing. Tying back into the ROI, I know we're going to dive into some of these deeper, but just top of mind, it's, almost all tactics work. It's finding the right tactics for your business to keep it scalable so that it's tied in with the time that you have and that your team has. Finding automations, finding ways to amplify your marketing, but in a way that's still cost effective, so it's not damaging your cash flow and your ROI. Because you can sell something and maybe ultimately the ROI is great, but if it takes 2 years to close the deal, do you have the money up front to get you through, right? Versus, how do you blend that? So there's all kinds of things that are involved in creating marketing strategies. And everyone's always like, what tactics working now? I said, completely depends on your business. It depends on
Right.
your resource. You have time, money, and
There's
resources,
no
right?
one answer for every company, right? I mean, it's like
No.
dissecting, what are you doing? What are you selling? Selling cycle, big ticket
Yeah,
items, small ticket. You selling some for $2 online, or $200,000 software, 2 year sales cycle, nurturing leads. I mean, there's not one
absolutely.
answer. That's a great point.
And that's the fun part. And I think that's where, you guys as well, that's where we all come in, and where strategy matters, where we're looking at, the macro as well as the micro, to really help a company scale, and I feel like you look at the phase of the business, and you guys do this really well with your stepped system. It's like, are you in a traction phase where you need to get going and start that momentum? Or are you in a scaling phase where you've already established what's working and you need it to be bigger, to go farther? And the answers to all of those questions depend on a lot of things that are unique to each business and what phase that business is in.
Yeah, and we want to make sure that everybody understands that, we're not going to suggest that you just jump into some of the things that we're going to talk about today without going back and going through some of those initial steps about identifying your target audience and
Mm-hmm.
really clarifying your offer. Because as Jody just eloquently said, marketing just really kind of exposes the real issue with your business. And so let's just assume that people have already done those things. And we wanted to talk about three specific topics today. We've got only 60 minutes for this particular workshop. So we're going to walk through these three particular topics. And I'm going to have Jody and Jeff kind of break down their experience. I'll give some ideas and feedback as well. But let's just start off with the idea of marketing automation tools, and maybe a high level overview of where they fit in the grand scheme of things. Because the whole concept, Jeff and I have talked about this before, the whole set it and forget it concept is not a reality. I mean, most people need to touch their marketing and tweak it and adjust it. So the idea of automation can sometimes be oversold in the marketplace, but there is a place for automation and, for repetitive tasks and things of that nature, and just making sure that things happen consistently. So would you give us kind of a flyover of marketing automation, and then maybe drill down on a couple of technologies that you've been leveraging or you've helped other people to leverage?
Sure. And I think one of the great places to start is clarifying, marketing automation is not an email deployment system, like mail, a MailChimp or Constant Contact. You have below a list, you're sending an email. So that's an email system that you could use. There's lots of them. When I think of a marketing automation platform or a marketing automation system, it's more of an ecosystem for your marketing. And it starts with uploading a list of contacts, having an email sequence. It can be behavior-based sequences. Have they already done this? Do they have a certain score maybe from your sales team? The marketing automation and the platforms we have today integrate really well as a CRM system, which just means where are the lists of people at? You can designate that they're at a certain phase and what kind of digital experience you want to create for them. And that creates more consistency for your business. So as an example for like this webinar, you can invite people to a webinar via an email, but you can segment what list of people to invite, and you can tag them appropriately to know who you're sending that email to. You can schedule what time it goes. If they opened it, if they didn't, do you want to send them a reminder? You can time and schedule all of the email activity. You can even time and schedule text messages or other platform communications. Now, from a marketing automation platform, it's not exclusive to email anymore. And all of that is tracked under their contact record. So a salesperson can go in and go, what's marketing been doing with my contact? Before I reach out to them, before I send something, what have they already been sent from marketing? So it's bridging that gap between sales and marketing. There's, depending on the level of your business, you can have dynamic content sent out to people via email or the landing page they go to based on clicking on an email or an ad or something else that's been served, because the system can recognize who they are. So now you're customizing. So if you're at the phase where you're doing like targeted accounts or account-based marketing, you can customize the information that's being sent to the people and make it a really dynamic experience for them and unique persona-based marketing, not just on the persona, but really personalized marketing, both on what they've done and what you know about them that can be housed in this marketing automation platform as well.
Yeah, well, Jeff, you've had some experience in outsourcing and doing marketing at scale. Any particular insights as to your experience with the businesses that you scaled utilizing automation or using marketing at that capacity?
Something I was just thinking about is when I had the $20 million ad agency that was making $4 million a year net profit to me. Okay. People would be like, wow, you must be an amazing marketer. What's your marketing budget? My marketing budget was like $5,000 a month, $60,000 a year to make $4 million. And one of the things I did very successfully is I would send 100,000 emails every month. I would get about 30 leads, 30. I would close 5 sales. Those 5 sales were minimum orders. They're spending $5,000 with me. So every month, congratulations, Jeff, you just generated $25,000 in revenue out of the $2 million I'm getting. So marketing was not making that business. Marketing was bringing them in on a minimum order. But if you look at those 5 clients I sold, over the next 12 months, they went from $5,000 to $10,000 to $20,000 to $50,000. They are huge orders. And some of those clients were spending $500,000 a month with me. And I got them from email marketing a year or two ago, but they came into the fold on a minimum order and then started stepping up. That's very different than like my mortgage company, where I'm spending $200,000 a month to get 1,000 phone calls into the building. Those phone calls were $200 a phone call. And if my loan officer took the call and they're hung over that day, choking on the phone, they sounded horrible, I'm like, hey, that's a $200 phone call. I better get a $200 effort or you're fired. And I was firing loan officers that couldn't take phone calls and convert to sales because 1,000 phone calls a month, we're only closing like 100 loans. But those 100 loans was $10,000 a loan. It's $1 million a month business. Spending, $200,000 on advertising, that whole thing had to work to pencil out. And I was just thinking, as the CEO, you're like, I got to work on sales. I got to work on marketing. Oh, operations is screwed up. I got 100 loans and only 4 people. I need 8 more processors. And you're like, you're plugging all the holes in the boat. It's so crazy to be an entrepreneur because you got to do all of this. And you probably start off selling your own crap. So you're in sales. You might be the only salesperson. But it's like, you got to handle all this and it's all got to be running, So I'm putting a little effort into sales, marketing, ops. And like what Jody just said, if your product sucks, that's a problem. You got to fix your product. So now I'm product development. I spent a lot of time on that, listening to the customers, hearing what they wanted. I'd have to tweak the product until I got it right where the marketing would work. So it's like you're touching all these areas. And I know this is all about marketing, which is great, but to see it holistically, as the CEO of a business that's doing that first $1 million in revenue that I did was friggin' hard. I sold all of it. I processed all of it. From 1 to 3 million in revenue was difficult. But when I went from 3 to 10 million, it was easy. And when I went from 10 to 20 million, it was even easier because I had the systems built, the people in place, and I worked less, as the business got bigger. So I think it's just putting those marketing foundation roots. Something I'm going to ask Jody, because when I started my direct mail advertising agency in 2011, I sat down and read a book by the founders of HubSpot. And what they said in their book is, don't ever do direct mail. It's horrible. And I was like, oh God, I'm starting a direct mail company. And these idiots that own HubSpot are telling the world how terrible it is. And I remember the book said something about push and pull marketing, like you want to I can't remember what was the good one. Do you remember,
So HubSpot's definitely an inbound preferred.
Inbound. Yeah, you want inbound leads, like no direct mail outbound, no telemarketing. I built my whole business on outbound direct mail and telemarketing. My marketing was tele. You say that word today, people are like, oh God, telemarketing. But I had 20 people on the phones dialing all day. That's how I built my business. The sales team, marketing was a small piece. So what was their book? Their basis was push and pull. And I'm trying to remember which one was better. You don't want to push them. You want to pull them in, that whole inbound. And that's when everything changed, was like 2011 is like 14 years ago. And here I am starting a business from zero. I built it to 20 million on the horrible concept of direct mail and telemarketing. So it goes to show you they weren't 100% correct, but now HubSpot's worth billions of dollars. So they've done a good job. And I know you are a HubSpot integrator, so you have experience. That whole marketing automation, I believe what they said was right. It just wasn't 100% conclusive. They were just trying to talk everyone into their system, buy our CRM, do inbound marketing, good for them. They're pitching their own deal. So, anyways, long rant, but kind of relevant to what we're talking about. So,
yeah. And that's what I love. I love all of the use cases because, the question I absolutely get asked most often is, what's working now in marketing? Like, what's the thing that's working this year? And I was just like, again, they all work.
Everything.
Like everything, unless, well, I was going to say, unless we've been banned from using it and it's illegal, but even those things, they still work.
Right,
you just may not be able to do them in different countries or different things. So yeah, it's, and that's where alignment really matters. Alignment, you can have, I've been at companies and startups where the sales team built the foundation for the company. Like they were just a grassroots, hardcore outreach, outbound, they were dialing for dollars. They were creating their own lists in a variety of places, and they were just selling that business. And then they're like, okay, great. We got a next round of funding and we're bringing in a marketing team now. And the marketing team is like, oh, yay, we're all inbound and we're doing this and we're getting top of funnel leads. And the sales team's like, yes, we have marketers to give us leads. And they give them all the leads from like a PDF download or a white paper. And they're like, these leads suck.
These leads suck. Yeah. No,
these are horrible. Yeah. And I was like, well, they're a totally different, like you have a sales team that's primed to function one way and a marketing team that's out of alignment with how the sales team's been functioning to date. So it takes a whole new thing of like white paper downloads and webinar registrations for B2B corporate absolutely work, but it's a longer sales cycle than them cherry picking and hustling for their own sales every month. Night and day different. And you don't have to pick one or the other. You just have to have an understanding. And there's a lot of things that go into it. But what I love about marketing automation is that it helps bridge that gap. It's a support system for both sales and marketing. It helps marketing streamline and optimize their time and their bandwidth to make sure they're marketing to enough people and at a frequency that is going to make a difference for sales. It helps sales by nurturing prospects they don't necessarily have the time to touch as frequently as they should. And it keeps track of what the current status is in the pipeline for both of them to create kind of this transparency across sales and marketing as well, so they can truly work as a team. So that's another aspect of marketing automation that I like, is it really helps to provide opportunities for automating that top of funnel awareness and customer journey and nurture phase, because salespeople really just want to close the deal, right?
Yeah.
And so marketing used to be, 25 to 50% of the, like, I'd say even back in like 2010s, ish, it was like marketing, even getting involved in digital, was only viewed as being 30% of the sales process. Like you handle the top 30% of the funnel, hand it off to sales. We nurture it, create those relationships, and close those deals. We handle the bottom 70%. Well,
Right.
as things needed to scale, and as sales processes and businesses changed, marketing automation and digital marketing opened up the opportunity for marketing to become a 50% partner. Like, we need you to take those leads 50% of the way before handing them off to sales and having somebody talk to them. So it allows more bandwidth for your sales team to pay attention, to put their time and energy where it's best utilized. Because
Jody,
otherwise they cherry pick, and then there's a whole bunch of leads that just get wasted that could have turned into something if they were nurtured properly.
Grow My Profit focuses on working with business owners that are doing 1 to 10 million in revenue, and they want to 10x their business. So they want to go from 1 million to 10 million, or they want to go from 10 million to 100 million and maybe have a big exit. That's kind of our target audience. So I'm curious, from your point of view, you've worked at Dell, IBM, people with 100 million, billion-dollar marketing budgets, but then you're working with these small entrepreneurs. If someone had $1 million company and wanted to go to 2 million, maybe they make 200 grand a year, and they want to go to making 400 grand a year, double sales. Is that like a $5,000 a month budget? Maybe you can put some things into place. I mean, what's a typical budget? I don't even know of $1 million, business, or even is that like a percentage goes to marketing that's going to nurture these leads? And where our goal is to double your revenue. We got to double sales, but here's the marketing we're going to put in place. So I'm sure you're dealing with a lot smaller people now, which is probably funner because you have relationships with the owners versus corporate America. But what would you say the average, budget is to work with? And maybe that's too generic of a question. There'd probably be more questions.
Yeah, I'd say there definitely isn't like one answer. I'd say a starting point for most businesses of pretty much any size, from a marketing perspective, the starting point when we're doing like planning and strategy sessions is like, let's just assume 10% of revenue that you want generated is going to have to go towards a budget for marketing.
So
now,
there's
whether
100
that
grand a
budget,
year, 9 grand a month on $1 million business.
yeah,
And hopefully you have a profitable product so you can afford that. Because like you
right.
said, that's an investment. If I do $1 million a year and I'm making 200,000, and now I take 100 and throw it at marketing, that 100 better turn me into a $2 million business, right? It's all kind of relative.
And that's where you want to, to look. So one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make is, okay, I'm going to put this money in and it's going to bring me 10x return on that particular investment. It's like, okay, but it all can't be new. Like, there's testing involved. There's things you don't want to let go of what's working for you. And this is one of the biggest mistakes I see. And even in the entrepreneurship space, honestly, I've seen it at almost every step. It's like, oh, we've made enough money. We can truly invest in marketing. We can like buy our clients now practically. We're going to do that. And then they stop doing outreach. They stop doing organic. They stop doing the things that built their business to begin with, because they think, oh, marketing is going to do it for us now, or we're going to run ads, but we're going to stop posting on social, or, we're buying leads from a direct lead source, and that's just magically going to work. Well, you always want to test something first, and you typically want to test it one strategy at a time without letting go of what you've previously done, so that you're not completely shooting yourself in the foot if it needs adjusting, if it needs tweaked, if there's a learning curve. So that's where I see some of the biggest mistakes. People get very excited. They've reached a certain level of business. They have a great foundation and they're ready to 10x, and they think they can just spend their way into it. Different problems come at different levels, and you may not know what's going to take you there. You have to test a few different things, understanding your cost per acquisition. I have some clients where we run $30,000 in ad spend, and they close $600,000 in their high ticket mastermind programs, as an example. We had similar things where, like, we invest $50,000 in a trade show at Dell, and we got 200 leads, and we sold $20 million in business. So you
Right.
really need to look at the business model that you're in, understanding the life cycles. But I think for most companies, when you're at that, say like you're at the million, you want to get to 2, or you're at 2 and you want to look at 10. I think
Yeah.
evaluating where is the opportunity to scale, either our time through becoming more efficient at what we do to make it more profitable, just without even selling more. Just like, is there a way for us to become more profitable with what we have? And can we grow that? Is it scalable from a time perspective, from a resource, which is typically people? Or can we up our investment? Have we been doing things that require paid advertising of some sort, or investing in a resource that we have to pay for something we've tested and know is working, and to like scale that up? Like, and things have a diminishing point of return too. Sometimes you can, I would manage $5 million marketing budgets for certain businesses in Dell, and then other ones only had a $200,000 a year marketing budget. And we
Right.
managed them differently because, like, okay, there there's different aspects to them, but the main thing is really understanding when you put a dollar in, how many dollars are coming back, making sure
Hey,
you can measure it, and
yeah.
making sure you're always testing it and tracking it.
Like 5 years ago, I went to the Adobe marketing conference. Oh my God. I was like in such shock of the technology. I mean, Adobe is like one of the
Mhm.
most valuable companies in the world, and they're big marketers. And the CMO of Harris Casino was one of the people speaking on stage. And the first thing he showed from stage was, depending on who goes on our website at Harris Casino, we have 4,000 different websites. So if I go to Harris Laughlin and I spend 10 grand gambling and
Yeah.
go to the steakhouse, when I go to the website, they're going to show me a high roller, free comp, penthouse, and they're going to give me $100 off a steak dinner. But if somebody goes to Harrah's in Vegas and spends $100 gambling, they're probably going to offer them, a website would pop up, $10 in free play, $5. I was like 4,000 different websites being sent out to people based on their history of gambling, what they spend, what their likes were. This is like, I don't know, 5 years ago. It was in Vegas. We got to see the Killers play in Vegas. That was the band that Adobe hired for. I'm like, dear God, it's like, I don't know, $2,000 to go, but it was high level and it was exciting just to see what a big company was doing, like Harrah's, I don't know, $1 billion company with
Yeah.
10 casinos and a
Dynamic
hotel.
content
But
is
could I
so
bring that down to, and so learning from the big boys and bringing it down to smaller companies, my
Mhm.
little $10 million company at the time that's trying to go to 20 million, but it was shocking. So I had David pull this up really quick. This is our wedding venue, Hawk Ranch, that I bought 4 years ago. And, they were doing 5 weddings a year when Tiffany and I bought it. And we did 68 weddings last year. We took it from $50,000 to 1.1 million. The goal is to get to 2 million. So I'm in the process right now of building a business that I knew nothing about, the wedding business, right? Totally different than junk mail, ad agency, mortgage company. So this digital marketer the other day said, Jeff, you need a lead magnet on your website. Like, they go to the website and all they see is this beautiful pond, 40-acre property, but they don't even know it's a wedding venue. So we spent, I don't know, $1,000, $2,000 in countless hours building this little transform your wedding dreams into reality, craft your perfect wedding, a guide from Hawk Ranch. So he said to me, how many people opt in to receive your emails every week? I said, well, the last 52 weeks, two a week. So I get, congratulations, 104 people a year opt into my email. So he puts this lead magnet on the website that we spent a lot of time working on, time invested, not a lot of money, but time. So we put this on there. And David, if you click this, I haven't even really seen this yet. It's literally like a week old. So the web guy just called me and said, hey, Jeff, how many people opted into your emails this week now that we have the lead magnet? 4. So I went from 2 to 4. So 2 leads a week, not even leads. You're talking 2 opt-in emails times
Mhm.
52 weeks. So, it's like, how is that going to benefit me? Like, all this time, all this effort, I believe the lead magnet is good. We're getting more people opting into the emails, but I need 50 more leads every month, not emails. I need 50 leads to fill out a lead so I can sell 5 more weddings. we sold 5 weddings last month. The goal is 8. And it's like little things like this
Yeah.
adding up, but this isn't going to like change my life at all, but it's definitely better. So I fill this out, I get their email. Now we're looking at how many people downloaded our free wedding planning, brochure, and then went to the website and filled out a lead form. Maybe we got conversion, and it's, all this stuff, but
Yeah.
we're in the process right now of trying to go from 68 weddings to 100, 1 million to 2 million. And these are little things we're doing in marketing to get there, so I'm in the middle of doing it myself in a whole new business. But the good news is all the things I've learned in marketing and sales through the years apply to every business. I don't care what you have. Maybe not
Absolutely.
Tesla, no marketing budget, but you know what I mean?
But they are doing marketing. They're doing an
They're
organic
doing,
grassroots marketing. They're doing
yeah,
word of mouth
yeah,
and,
yeah,
a value community-based marketing. Yeah.
right,
And
right.
Just
and
not
what Jeff just
traditional.
talked about is actually a marketing automation tool using
Mhm.
constant contact as a strategy. So
Yeah,
that is a absolute no-brainer to add on to your website, because not only does it capture a lead, but it's completely automated in terms of the follow-up. So you can set up a series of
Mhm.
autoresponders that continue to sequence a message to those brides, regardless if they ever fill out a contact form. It's just like a virtual salesperson that's just doing more consistent follow-up. So, Jody, I want to transition because we've got just a short call today. But if you
Yeah.
were to give kind of like the top 3 to 5 marketing automation tools, I'm assuming that CRM would be like first, like foundational level, like having a quality CRM system that allows you to organize and automate some basic follow-up and marketing strategies like email sequences or email strategies. That maybe would be like a baseline foundation. And then after that, would it be more like digital outreach tools, like utilizing social media tools, social media engagement strategies, auto schedulers, things of that nature? Or what are your
Yes.
top 3 to 5 tools?
Yeah. So the tools that I like, so yeah, I think everything pretty much has some level of a CRM or customer relationship management. Basically, it's just having a contact record and tracking what that person has done, or what their contact information is, and if they're a client or just a prospect. Like that's a CRM for anyone at, at any level, just as to make sure people are all on the same page. From there, then the marketing automation part of it is, yeah, there's usually an email tool involved. There's usually, if there's automated sequences you can set up, or like sometimes people will call them workflows. Like if someone is sent this email, you wait so many days and then you can send something else. Most tools, and I'd say things like right now that are timely when you're evaluating or creating your minimum requirements checklist for a marketing automation platform, do they have the ability for text messaging, for SMS messaging? So whether you're doing webinars or you're just sharing a coupon code to something, or having someone scan a QR code and then receive something via text that they can link to. People are so mobile optimized now. Having a tool, and again, most of them do this, and if they don't, there are inexpensive add-on tools that will just plug into whatever automation you are using to utilize not just email automated deployments and messages, but also text messages. And then, yeah, it's a place to track all the conversations and what the status is of that person. So, there's been a lot of shift in the industry. So like enterprise level, tools would be like, Eloqua, Marketo, HubSpot, they can handle really large accounts, large volumes of lists. They can do dynamic content population on landing pages or website pages based on someone's IP address. They can have dynamic content also based on those tags in their emails that are delivered to them. So those are some enhanced tools that those systems make available. You can also dynamically populate that the email or text message comes from the salesperson that's assigned to that person. So it's a customer relationship management system that includes marketing automation. On the other side of the spectrum, if you're, say, someone who has a business and maybe you're just at 6 figures, maybe you're at 1 million, 2 million, and you want to make sure that you're keeping an eye on your systems subscriptions for tools like this, it's come so far. I mean, you can sign up for Constant Contact or MailChimp, things like that. They've come a long way too, where they've got more than just email. They even do like some landing pages and newsletters and other things. I like to bypass that level, even if you're just starting out, and go with something that's more conducive to give you the tools of the big boys, even if it's just the entry level of them. So go high level. Also, Keep used to be called Infusionsoft. Those are tools that are common in the smaller business space that still have a whole bucket of functionality where you can do email, text message, contact record management, invoicing, process payments, through Stripe or PayPal and those things. So we're in a tech world now, and you want a marketing automation platform that can integrate with contact records, payment systems, dynamic and custom experiences based upon where they're at with you in that customer journey. And all of that, when you have a system set up to manage it, takes a huge workload and saves so much time and employee staff that you need on your team, from marketing as well as sales. So it is, like you mentioned, it's a virtual salesperson. It's also a virtual marketing person. So when you can set it up properly, it's never set it and forget it, but it saves your company and the teams within your company so much time, and really giving that customer and prospect experience that you need to increase in scale.
Yeah, and for those people whose eyes just rolled back in their head, understanding all these different
Sorry.
technology platforms, the next topic is about utilizing virtual marketing assistants. And there's different levels of virtual marketing assistants. Obviously, you can outsource just specific duties and tasks that are related to a specific technology, or you can outsource a comprehensive list, or even, kind of like fractional marketing assistants. And that's the role that you play for a lot of companies, is that you actually create the campaigns, you manage the technology, you help them to scale by bringing in virtual marketing assistants that help you to execute on campaigns at a very high level. Talk a little bit about virtual marketing assistants, and then I want to have Jeff talk a little bit about how he's leveraged technology and virtual marketing assistants with his different businesses.
Yeah, we've come so far. The last 5 years have been really exciting. So you have access to virtual assistants that can do everything from plan out and post your social media, manage your email, manage your calendar for you. So like what an executive assistant used to be, or an old school secretary, like you can have people do all kinds of things for you. You can have it just from a technical perspective. There's tech VAs, there's assistants like VAs. There's marketing VAs. So they all have different specialties. I think that's the biggest thing to be aware of is you need to look at, and like, you do time trackers or whatever, like what are you spending your time on, or what is your team spending their time on? That's a documented repetitive task. Those are the first things to offload to someone else that you can pay less per hour than the person who's currently doing it, whether that's you or someone else on your team. And you create efficiency now, like cost-effective efficiency, to keep these tasks moving, or to implement a new system. So you can hire people, internationally for, I don't like doing the $4 thing, but that, like $8 to $10 an hour. You can even hire people in the States for as little as in some places $15 or $20 an hour. And that really, versus having someone who's on your team that's making $40 or $50 an hour, those hours add up. The ROI gets depleted very quickly when you have someone doing a task, especially if it's you as the owner. You could be selling another program that's $10,000, $100,000, dollars. What is the transaction as well as the lifetime value of the customers you could be signing, or the mentoring you're doing to your own sales team versus spending time on marketing or administrative tasks? And outsourcing those becomes an amazing process, especially if you want to test something out before hiring to be a permanent part of your team.
Very good. Jeff, anything that you'd like to add to that?
I spent $500 a month with my email marketing person. She would spend, 5 hours a month. Here's all my data. And some of the things I would do is like, I've got 20 salespeople on the phones collecting email addresses every month. So go into Salesforce and download every month. I got 20 people adding 100 emails. That's 2,000 warm prospects, make sure my new prospects get the email, right? Because so the sales team is kind of adding to the database and she's adding to constant contact. And it was a great system. But if I was to sit down and work on constant contact and Salesforce, first of all, it'd take me freaking 20 hours because I'm kind of dumb. I'm not techie. So for me to go do all the email marketing myself would have been a horrible use of my time. So $500, hey, I'm getting $5,000 a month back on that. Great investment. Outsource everything I could outsource. I outsourced, that's more, delegation, but I had my eyes on marketing. It was important. I had the eyes on the product, but I wasn't in the weeds doing it all. Anytime I could outsource, you make, $4 million a year. I think it's like $3,000 or $4,000 an hour. So every hour that I spend in the day, if I was like doing $20 an hour work, $100 an hour work, $500 is like, I told my executive assistant, is there any way you can go to the restroom for me? I got to the point where I wanted to outsource the restroom. I'm like, can you do my workout? I don't want to do personal training today. My personal assistant was also my personal trainer. I'm like, can I outsource that? Can my wife do my workout for me? I was like, delegate. And I think it's just making sure you get a return on your time because we're limited on time and investment. So if you can find someone really good at it, like Jody's really good at it, and she's probably, I'm sure, not cheap, whatever, a couple $100 an hour, but that's a good investment if I'm getting a return on it. And you set it up and build the system and then it runs. Yeah. So anyway.
So what are some questions that you would say that would be important questions to ask yourself, or questions to consider before hiring a virtual marketing assistant?
For me or Jody?
Jody, do you?
Yeah, I think the first, so when you're outsourcing anything, I think the first thing is to define, are you outsourcing something that you're already doing, or are you outsourcing for expertise and for someone to do something you haven't done yet? I feel like it's a lot easier to do the first than the second, because you have a better sense of what you're interviewing for because you've already done it. That's not always possible, especially as you're up-leveling your business. So there's different questions that would need to be asked. But I think the first thing is, really you need to understand what it is you're hiring for and be very clear about what it is they'll be doing. And then, like any other standard job description, getting referrals to people versus just posting a job somewhere and taking applications. I like and prefer getting referrals from other people in the industry that have worked well with someone, as well as posting in different communities that train and certify people to do those things, especially when it's a virtual assistant. I have had much better success hiring people who are certified in some aspect of being a virtual assistant, whether it's marketing related or not, because they've put time and dedicated their own money to become certified. Like they care about what they do. They're passionate about it. They're not just someone who's like, oh yeah, I think I can like do social media and I've done a couple things for my friend. It's someone who's treating it as a business and in their own education and wants to stay. I always hire people who want to stay on top of things. Also keeping in mind when you're looking at their hourly, like, understand your budget, but also understand that you may hire. So I hired someone as more of a virtual ops assistant to help us organize stuff. And when I was looking at people for $25 an hour, $30 an hour to help run operations in my business so I could stay focused on sales and marketing, people could do stuff, but they needed a lot of handholding and they needed a lot of instruction. I hired someone to come in for 2 months at $80 an hour, set up all of our operations and systems, hire and train the next person that could be $25 or $30 an hour. So sometimes you also, you could hire someone who's a little bit more, but and that person that don't get hung. I would say my advice to some people is don't get hung up on the hourly either, because someone that you're paying more usually works faster. So you're getting a higher quality. Like I can write a blog post in less than 20 minutes. That's like 3 pages long and it's going to be excellent. Or you can hire someone for $20 an hour. It's going to take 10 hours to do it and it won't be as good.
Right.
So it's like, yes, you might be paying me, $100 or $200 an hour, but really it only costs $20 because I can finish it in an hour.
Right.
That's true.
Versus someone else is going to charge you $200 and then take twice as long. So you really need
I want you to cover that in just a second on when it comes down to like organizing a strategic marketing calendar to just give people an idea of what you do at a high level on professional services. But before we do that, Jeff, you want to talk in a little bit about, you just purchased a business. How are you taking that business that you've just purchased and implementing marketing systems to grow it?
Well, you could share the website if you want. I don't care if people know. I mean, I bought the alpaca hacienda like 3 weeks ago. I've got a non-disclosure, so I can't tell all the details, but let's say it was less than 100,000 and more than 10,000. You can kind of get an idea of what I paid for this thing. But what I bought was 18 alpacas that moved to Hawk Ranch so we can do tours. But the main thing I bought was this website that had unbelievable traffic. So this company, Alpaca Hacienda, 7,000 tours, 7,000 over 13 years. And they were charging $20 to come tour 18 alpacas on 2 acres of land. So I doubled the price to $40. And I said, hey, come see the 18 alpacas plus our 100 other farm animals on 40 acres. Come fishing, come feed the geese, cows, goats, pigs, chickens, go get 12 fresh dozen eggs. So it was a really nice tie-in. But the funniest thing about when I made this acquisition, I think I'll get all my money back in a year, right? With the amount of money we'll bring in tours. So I'll get my investment back in a year, which is great. And it helps sell some more weddings because I'm going to bring 2,000 people to my property. So out of 2,000, 20 of them probably going to get married. So that's going to get me from 68 weddings to maybe 98 weddings. So I'm hitting my goal there. But here's the funny thing about marketing. You would think, 7,000 people went and did a tour of alpacas and took pictures. The alpacas kiss you on the lips. The little kids are feeding them. They're laughing, smiling. Alpacas only have one row of teeth, so they always look like they're smiling. So they're very funny animals, and people love to take pictures. So I'm buying this business and I go, hey, I want to make sure I take over your Instagram account. You got 2,000 followers, right? That's big. Social media, Instagram, that's huge. She goes, Jeff, just so you know, we have not posted on Instagram in 4 years. I'm like, 4 years? So apparently Instagram is not that important for your business, that these people have not posted in 4 years. The one who wants to make you think Instagram's really important is Instagram to get your money. So I'm thinking I could spend $1,000 a month social media, but they've got 7,000 tours without one post on Instagram in 4 years. That was like shocking. These people are a little older. They don't care about Instagram, but 13 years in business, 7,000 tours. I think it was over 1,000 5-star reviews. So that was way more important than Instagram posting, which shocked me. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to race out and do Instagram. Eventually, I've got to do it. I mean, I just can't help myself. There's too much money sitting there. But it's funny how everybody thinks they need Instagram to be in business. I got to be posting every day, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. I mean, maybe, but maybe not. So where's your biggest return going to be? And right now, just keeping people happy. And so we're doing 3 tours a day right now just for moving this over here and make sure people are happy and that they get a good experience because we doubled the price.
Yeah, it just goes to show, like what you said, is that it doesn't have to look a certain way, right? I mean, you can do outbound marketing, you can do direct mail marketing, make it work. You can not have virtual marketing assistants, and you can have virtual marketing assistants and make it work. It's really dependent upon your individual goals. And so I heard a phrase, Alex Hormozy recently in his book, $100 Million Leads, he talked about delegating by the 3 Ds: document, demonstrate, delegate. And that simple strategy could maybe free up another 5 hours for the growing entrepreneur that still has his or her hand involved in marketing. So land the plane for us here, Jody, and talk a little bit about developing a marketing calendar and just how your organization works, because we don't do execution on marketing. You do. So share with people, kind of walk them through that process of what it's like to build out a quality marketing calendar and really streamline it so that it's built on structure and it happens consistently, so that it's not just, the flavor of the month marketing and whoever does the greatest sales job gets the next dollar for marketing.
Right. Yeah. So what we do is when we put together what we call a blueprint session to define the overall strategy. So we start, top level, what's the overall strategy? from a marketing perspective for the company. Then we break it down and say, okay, plug in, are there, any calendar items? Like, are there timely things that we need to pay attention to, not just from, Christmas or kids are out of school or whatever, those things, but also, are there product releases? Are there launches? Are there things that are timely that have hard dates that we need to plug in that are going to be the focus for a particular quarter or a particular month? And from there, we back up what needs to lead into those sales, those key sales events. And sometimes you're selling evergreen, you're selling the same thing every month all the time. That's great. But we still want to break it down. Like, is there anything that's influential per quarter, per month that we need to be aware of? From there, we just continue to back up and say, okay, what is the theme for each month? What's the focus? And so when I say theme, don't just instantly jump to like, oh, what's like a, ice cream of the month? It's not those types of themes, but like, what is the business focused on selling each particular month or preparing to sell in the following month that marketing can take advantage of and make sure it's scheduled. So every single social post, every single email, webinar has a strategic objective that feeds the larger goal. So we did this, in when I was at Dell and IBM, we do it with startups. It's what's the overall goal, and then you break it down to know every single month what's leading in, what are you building up for, or what are you now pulling the trigger on that you've been spending the last 4 to 8 weeks. Most businesses run kind of in a 90-day cycle from a marketing perspective. What you did 90 days ago is what you're usually reaping now, like, you reap what you sow. So there's a planting process in marketing. And so we break that down, make sure that you document it and that you're not overwhelming your team. So you've got your goals. Now you brainstorm, what are all the things you could do? What are we doing that's already working? And then what's 1, max 2 new things we could do within a 90-day cycle to help support that sales goal from a marketing perspective. Implement, document how you're going to implement it and when those things get implemented. So there's accountability in your team. And then we meet on it. We have monthly review processes from a vendor perspective. If we're deploying things, or even if we're just helping hold or coach someone else's team, we meet monthly to review those documented plans. Everybody knows how to use, create a workflow, create a plan, put it in Asana or a Trello board or something. Kanban type methodologies work really well for this, so that everything is meeting its deadline and moving forward. But it's not just processing a bunch of work or processing a bunch of posts or emails. It's everything is feeding a strategic goal. And we try to have this like flywheel approach where everything is feeding something else. And we look at it in 90-day cycles so that you can be responsive to the market. You still have that overarching goal for the business, say for the year, but you may tweak and tune based on how that last 90-day cycle did as you're gearing up for the next 90-day cycle and people work better in sprints than they do huge audacious goals.
Yeah, one of the big things that we encourage all of our clients to do, and those people that are just members of our virtual experience, you can leverage this business optimizer tool. It's simply just a Google sheet that you can download for no cost. It's also available with this course if you look in the video description. But we've got our marketing plan, we've got our marketing calendar. If you want to do some of this stuff on your own, you have the ability to do so. And if you want to leverage the resources of people like Jody to help you with this is something that we strongly encourage you to do. And you'll see her contact information in the description and the show notes for this particular webinar recording. And we'll make sure that everybody that registered for this particular live session gets her contact information. We have organized a special offer for our strategic partnership with Jody. So if you do want to leverage her services, please reach out to us. And as we wrap up here today, there's just a few questions that we want to kind of summarize as we kind of put a wrap on step 3 of our 6 steps in regards to marketing. So the first question is, do you know who your ideal client or customer is? Have you refined your target audience to know specifically who your best prospects are? Have you defined a marketing budget? Do you know what money has been set aside as the seed capital to build your business? Do you have a written plan to generate leads, retain clients and customers, and generate referrals? If you don't do those things, you're stepping over dollars to pick up nickels, dimes, and pennies. Having strategies in play where here's the most profitable, highest ROI strategies that we need to consistently do to bring in increase sales and revenue? Do you have an irresistible offer that clients and customers cannot refuse? Do you have that quarterly or annual marketing calendar that Jody just mentioned to organize and systemize and make sure that you've got consistent marketing? Have you been leveraging referral partners? This is an option. You don't have to do this, but if you want to do this, and that's a relationship-based opportunity that you're willing to pursue, we'd encourage you to do that. Implement virtual marketing assistants. Partner with experts like Jody who can bring all the pieces in the technology together, and so you can focus in on the main thing. And then make sure you've got your good quality branding. If branding is important to you, then make sure that it really pops. And that's another thing that Jody can end up helping you with Badass Marketing Moms. So for all of you that want to get more information and get more training and education, take a look at growmyprofit.com/virtual. All of our marketing workshops are posted in here. Our 6 steps to success are posted here. And if you want to get access to our comprehensive business assessment, you can go to growmyprofit.com and take that assessment. Jody, thanks so much for joining Jeff and I today and sharing your expertise and experience. It's always good to catch up with old friends, or friends from the past, not old friends. Sorry about that. And any final parting words that you'd like to share with our viewers today?
I think the best thing is, don't let marketing stress you out. It can truly be worry-free.
So thanks, Jeff. Thanks for being here and sharing your expertise and your real life business experience. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.